Welcome to the Obesity Medicine Podcast with your host, Dr. Rentea, board certified in internal medicine and obesity medicine. Here, we talk about a path to metabolic health, and we have real conversations about chronic weight management and living a full life. Just a reminder, I am a physician, but I'm not your physician. So everything that's on this podcast is for informational purposes, but please go talk to your doctor about what's right for you. There is no medical advice being given on this podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the most tried and true episode, which I feel like we kind of do this every month or two. We're going to talk about getting back on track. And I almost don't like that term because it somehow implies that you're quote unquote off the wagon, which I really don't believe in that. I think that there's a season and a reason for everything, but we're going to dig a little bit deeper into this. And this is so fitting because I wanted to start out today with saying that I'm so grateful for those of you that have left me a review wherever you listen to the podcast. It's the best way for other people to find out about it. Number one, not only rating it, but then also the review. It really gives more weight to your podcast and it helps it to be searchable. It helps others to be able to find it. And I know I've shared this before. I'm shocked. We are consistently in the top 40 or 30 with the medicine podcast charts. I didn't think that could ever be a thing. That wasn't ever a goal. I'm just so incredibly grateful for those of you that listen. And it's so funny that today I really want to talk about getting back on track and then listen to this review that I got here recently. And I'm so grateful. I'm going to tell you why I was so grateful to get this review. So number one, all of them are amazing. I can't read them all, but I want to start with one here. So the title was A Must Listen for Me Each Week. By the way, I want to say thank you. Thank you. If I am your trusted every week, you know that Monday morning, Matea's podcast comes out. You know, I listen to what Dr. Rentea says. Like if that is something that motivates you, peps you up, you learn something, you hear something different, thank you. Because I have to tell you, you know that I've been an OG podcast lover for a million years. Like, we've talked about this before, that I listened to podcasts before they were cool. I want to say like in 8th grade, I had like back in the day, the shuffle, if you guys remember with the Apple products, there was like the shuffle and then there was like the oh my God, I can't even say it, like the little mini one, like there were all these different iterations, right? And I remember like, what was I listening to? I remember there was this motivational speaker guy and he had lost a bunch of weight. It was literally like 10-minute things every day. I don't know, but I can just tell you for a long time, I've listened to stuff and I find that there's this like really intimate connection that you have with podcasts that you listen to because you just know so much about their life and what they're sharing about. So just thank you. But here's the review. It says, Dr. Rentea offers real world advice and support for those of us on the journey of weight loss, particularly those using GLP-1 medications. Her short, informative episodes are packed with encouragement and positivity and can help me get back on track mentally. In a field where more often than not, it's you should and can't, she has a loud, resounding yes, you can. Thank you. That is what this podcast is about. Every day we're going to get up and we're going to kind of dust ourselves off and figure out what's possible for ourselves and keep going. And I always say in 5 years, you're not even going to recognize where you're at. You're going to be an entirely different person, but it takes time to get there. And I'm so glad that this is how it's resonating with you because that's 100% my intention. All right. Oh, and the other thing before I talk about getting back on track, I want to tell you that registration is still open for my new 30/30 program. And I'm so excited. We start September 1st. Technically it's a 4-week course, but I think I'm going to tackle a little bit more time on. I'm so excited with this. I can't even tell you how much more I'm learning. So I want to just read you my quick description for it because I feel like I'm horrible summing this up. So if you want to get to this, you can look right here in the show notes, or you can go to my website, renteaclinic.com, and I want you to click on digital courses, and it's right there, the 30/30 program. So here's how we describe it. We say, mastering the art of breaking old habits and embracing change to break through a weight loss plateau. In just 4 weeks, you'll rediscover your joy of food and movement while cultivating a more flexible, open mindset that supports lasting change. I'm going to break this down for you. We are doing a lot of really practical things during our time together. And we're going to make sure that we're getting that protein in, that we are getting a variety of different fibers, things that are supporting our gut microbiomes. And then we're also making sure that we're getting a lot of movement in. Basically, it's like a mega challenge. And I'm going to very much so customize it to where you're at. First of all, we have the nicest group ever right now that has signed up. I know everybody that has signed up has either been in a previous program of mine or is currently in a program of mine. And I just want to say, It is the nicest community you're ever going to work with. So if you are on the fence, this is your time to just say, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Because I always say that, I'm going to offer it a few times next year. And then those things change. And I'll tell you why, because stuff changes within my clinic. And so for me, there are often these windows when I know this is the perfect time when I have a lot that I can give to this community. For example, one of the things that we're doing differently this time versus last time is that, yes, we have the calls. Yes, they're recorded if you can't make it. There's, tons of time to ask questions and get coached. And there's even going to be a curriculum this time, meaning each time the week before the current week, there will be content that unlocks. There's a workbook that goes with it. I have done so many courses and fun things for this. I have become a little bit of a nerd with the gut microbiome. I've done some additional testing for myself and let's say recipe development. And I have literally taken entire nutrition courses so that I could up my game with this. So there is just so much stuff that's even new compared to other programs that you've done, but I always like to keep it easy as well. And so I really kind of have the version that if someone is tired and stressed out and just wanting to do the basics, there's that. But then there's kind of room. I'm telling you, some of you have been with me a long time and I love you and you need the next level. And don't worry, I'm going to give that to you. So I always like to have that variety. So I have the simple in there and then I have kind of if we need to crank it up. And the thing that's really unique about this, yes, we're meeting once a week for at least 90 minutes. And there's the course and all that, the workbook. The thing that's really cool about this one is that we're going to have a private WhatsApp group. And so what's really nice about that is that we're going to do the daily walk and talk. We're going to do the sharing recipes. There is something, I have to tell you something, there's something so fun about being in a group where like-minded people, where everyone's kind of trying different stuff, doing different stuff. It's funny. I was thinking, I need to chop and do all this. And then I came across a very expensive meal delivery service. No, I'm not going to do it. But they literally were advertising, that, at least 100 grams of protein per day and 200 different veggies and fruits, nuts, seeds and stuff per week. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's phenomenal. Do you know they're charging $2,000 per month? I was thinking that is flipping ridiculous. But then I thought to myself, but this is the work that we're trying to get toward, where we're working on our health and we need things to be easy. Otherwise we can't do it long term. So no, I'm not going to invest in that at the moment unless life radically changes. But what I will do is make it really simple and easy, and we're going to inspire each other. And when you're with other people that are doing things, they will come up with systems and processes that are so easy where you will just think, gosh, that's so easy. I could do that. You're also kind of a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So when other people are doing things, you're like, oh yeah, I need to do that, or that matters, or okay, I could do just these 2 minutes, or people, that's what you're going to get in the group. And okay, whatever, we're off track, but let's just go with it. So I myself, the reason we're doing this Getting Back on Track episode here, it's because I am it's a year-long program, but if I'm being real here, it's going to be a lifetime program because it's great when I'm in. And, the thing that I really realized about myself that I've come to know over the past 5-6 years here is that I am just someone that needs to be in a program that has structure. I am someone that needs to attend calls that are happening a few times a month. I need to be able to at least once a month, if not more often, I need to be able to do a call, like an hour call where I sit down with someone. I need to set goals for myself. I need to, when things aren't going right, I need to address them and not go into what I'm going to call going dark. And this, by the way, this is something that every so often I'll have a person or two within my programs that kind of goes dark. And the reason I've more and more kept my programs to very small groups that we do, meaning less than 20, but this one definitely I think will be 10, maybe not more than 10. The reason that we do this, it's because I don't allow people to go dark. And let me tell you what I hear from people is that when you're not doing great, your first instinct is to entirely check out. It's this all or nothing mentality where you just totally want to give up. You're like, well, I can't do it, this or that. And if someone is like, hey, what's going on, love? What is happening? And you say, I'm totally overwhelmed and this and that. And someone's like, okay, what about just getting a glass of water that you bring with you in the car to work? It's like, hey, can you do that this week? And someone's like, yeah, of course I can do that. You start to be able to break back in to progress quicker. And so again, I really want to encourage you that if the 30-30 program sounds like something that you want to do it now, because again, I'm not always sure that every single round is going to be offered in the future. Okay, so we have the link for that, but let's talk today about getting back on track. So the reason we talk about this so much on the podcast, it's because a few times a year, I have to get back on track. And I see this with patients too. And it's not that the times, quote unquote, that and I hate this term, off the wagon. I think the way that I do things with people and myself, that there's not ever everything's going awry. I think it's just that all the areas are not optimal during those times. And so you kind of feel like, I'm not at the place I want to be. But if you really looked, and we did the positive psychology version of this, and we looked through, well, what are you still doing? And you'd see, oh, I'm actually still, some days I still do exercise, and I actually do still bring the water, and I do still try to get protein. And you start to add it up, you're like, oh, I'm not all the way over there. I've just a little bit drifted. And I always say it is easier to get back on track when there's a little bit of a drift, when there's a little bit of a misalignment, versus when so many things have happened that you feel like I'm entirely restarting. By the way, you are never restarting at the beginning. You now know more. You can get back to things that worked for you. You can do things differently this time, but you are never starting over. Don't ever repeat that to yourself again. Just delete that as a phrase that I'm starting over. No, you're not. Even if you were back at the exact same weight that where you started 5 years ago and you had bariatric surgery in the middle and you lost and you gained it back, you know what? You know a lot about yourself right now. You know that a restricted stomach only did so far for so long. You know that there were other things at play. You know that there's other stuff to work on. You now have no misconceptions about XYZ. There is so much there, but the one thing that we just need to drop is that you're starting from the beginning or that there's any guilt or shame. No, I think that the quicker that we just drop that, like when I started to drop that I was the reason for all of this, I started to get a lot more curious with what the medical options could be, with how I could formulate protein differently or veggies differently, or how my life could look differently, or what I could ask for in my relationships, that exercise was possible, right? I talk about this a lot, that it's a point of privilege, the fact that I could ask my husband, hey, I want to actually take this walk in the morning, because if I don't do it in the morning, I don't want to do it the rest of the day. I don't want to get sweaty in the middle of a work day and then be seeing patients and be sitting there with the top of my hair all sweaty. I don't enjoy that. It's not my energy. And also, once I get into work, I'm focused on work. Context switching, for those of you that run businesses or do really anything in the world, context switching, you lose a lot of productivity during that time. And it's not that we have to be productive 24/7, but when we're getting tasks done, the more we can bunch them and chunk things together and sort of stay in the vein that we're in, the better that we're going to do. And so I want to just get back to this with getting back on track. There are times when you are more or less focused on what really matters, or things are working or not. And so you need to do this every so often. And so I will tell you what my time here recently looked like, and then how it feels so much better when I'm doing the things that I know really support me and help me. So there was a period, I told you guys about this months ago, where I was so darn hungry with the medication change. And then I really played around with a lot of things with my coach, as far as, and my physician, of course, not only medication dosing, but also looking at, okay, do I need to decrease my strength training because it was making me so hungry? I mean, it's like 10 minutes a few times a week, but it can really increase my appetite. And not everyone is this way. And also it might be, depending on how intensely you're doing it, if you're holding weights and not, all this kind of stuff. So anyway, I got down to a period where I just wasn't doing it at all. And I'm not going to lie, it really did decrease my hunger. But I also lost a lot of muscle. And so I got to this place of being like, okay, I've got to kind of get back in the swing of things. I've realized the real world consequences of not doing this. And so I said, okay, I want to get back to the strength training. Maybe I do it a little bit less intensely, but I know that even if it's less time, I still need to keep the same days, because there's something about what I've noticed is things need to have a date, a time, a place for me, and always happen at those times, because that's the only way that I stay on task. And so now I'm back to all the strength training, making sure I'm getting the protein, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I just feel like I'm in a really good place. Guess what? I didn't beat myself up for it's probably, I don't know if it was a month or two, to be honest, where I just wasn't fully, there were a lot of things I was doing, but I wasn't 1,000,000% doing it. And if I look back, it made 1,000,000% sense. We were in the middle of moving. There was a lot of stuff happening. It makes sense. Maybe the hunger wasn't even all related to the strength training. Maybe it was just the fact that my stress was higher with moving as well. And so that too can increase your cortisol levels, and that's a stress response. And oftentimes eating presents as an answer to that. You literally think that you're hungrier, but maybe you're not. So all of this to say, it really doesn't matter. I felt it in me that I wanted to kind of get back to some of these things, and I eased myself into it. I got coaching on it in a group coaching program that I'm in. I realized I at least twice a week need to attend these group calls that I go to. I do my one-on-one coaching, both for health and for business. I do my walk in the morning. I got back to all these things and I feel fabulous. So here's the way that we're going to do this that I see with me and with patients every single day, because there's no patient of mine that doesn't go through this, where there's a time where they just feel adrift or they feel that they're not doing all the things. And by the way, the people that are successful, the reason I'm kind of changing how I'm doing things in the clinic and I won't be offering as much this option where people can kind of just drop down to seeing me whenever they need, because I see that it just doesn't work for them long term. And so again, we're kind of changing the way that we do things in the clinic. But the point is this, 2 things need to happen for you to get back on track. Number 1, you need to make it simple. And I want to walk through what that actually means. I know we talk about this a lot. I don't care because you need to hear it again. You need to keep it simple. And then you need a bumper rail system. And I know we've talked about this a lot with like maintenance and plateaus and all these different things. But what I'm realizing is these concepts, I'm talking about them a lot because they work. So when I say you need to keep it simple, you need to allow yourself to be able to actually get these things done. You're going to say you're going to do them and you're going to do them. So a lot of the times people will tell me, oh, well, I'm not even doing anything. And I talk to them and they're like, yeah, because I hurt so much that I can't move for days after. It's too much. It's too much. I need you to do 2 minutes of walking. If 5-10 minutes hurts your back and there's problems, it's too much. Maybe we do none of that. Maybe we just say, hey, I'm going to see, am I getting protein 3 times a day? Not even 30 grams. Am I literally getting a lick of protein 3 times a day? Am I getting a fiber in some capacity? How's my stool? Let me work on my gut health feeling amazing first. There are so many angles at this. If you did not listen to the episode where we talked about busting through a plateau, I talk about how there are so many different ways to go about it, how there's option B, C, D, E, F. There's so many things you can do. Same thing with getting back on track. It doesn't matter where you start. If it's getting more water in, if it's getting to sleep on time. Yesterday, I'm almost insane about getting to bed at 9 o'clock. Yesterday, I was up till 10:30. It was Friday night. I'm recording this on a Saturday. And I just was like, why did I do this? I wasn't even doing anything fun. There was no purpose. There was no reason for it. And I'm sure I'll pay the price tomorrow. And it's okay. I mean, my gosh, it's an hour and a half. I'll deal. But the point is, there are certain things that I know if I get to sleep on time, I'm just able to handle urges, cravings, thought process. I'm able to handle it better. So I want you to look at what's the one place you want to start. Is it getting to bed on time? Is it getting up in the morning and doing your walk no matter what? Even if it gets truncated, I can't tell you how often. I'll tell you the only non-negotiable I have is that I physically get my shoes out and I go out, unless it's lightning and thundering or, over 100 degrees humid. We had that here recently. If there's a legitimate reason or it's super cold in the winter, something like that. But otherwise, I will get up and walk. Now, 99 times out of 100, I'm doing a long walk and I feel great. And by the way, these are leisurely. I don't like to force myself to walk quickly. I like to just enjoy things. I would rather do like a 1-hour walk than 30 minutes super quick. I just enjoy the experience of it. There's a lot more that I get out of it than just cardiovascular health. And that's my only thing is that you actually get out there. Now, if I want to turn back, there are some days where there are time constraints with work where I've only got 20. I don't have 40 or 60 minutes. Okay, great. There are some days where I'm not feeling it. I'm like, a hip will hurt or like something will happen and I turn back. That's not a failure because I did what I said I was going to do, which is go out and do that walk. Every day is not 100%, but it is so rare that day doesn't get that. So my non-negotiable is we literally are going to get out there and do a walk. I know when I do that, it gets me on track with fluids. It gets me on track with so many other things. So for you getting back on track, what's your secret sauce? What is it where, when I'm doing that, things are going great. I used to say journaling for me. This was a big part of me starting out, was really getting an increased awareness of my thought process and what was happening and all these things. And I will tell you what has changed over time. It's that I talk on Marco Polo to my friends on these walks, and I am an auditory processor. So if you know me in a friendship or in the clinic or in any capacity, when I talk about things, I get ideas, I process things, I will ultimately come to my next steps through speech. And so I realized that's what I need. I need walks where I can think about things and I can talk to my friends, and I need friendships and relationships. This is part of the reason that I go to so many conferences and I connect with certain friends, because it keeps me in community A lot of the friends that I have made have come from programs where we're working on our health. So these are friends that are aligned in the same capacity. I often hear about their struggle. They hear about mine. I feel very connected. I don't feel alone. Now, it's not the only thing we talk about. It's maybe 5% of what we talk about. But you know what? I feel it's a safe space. I don't need to sit there and talk to my husband about it, although he's super supportive, but he has no idea what I'm talking about. He's always been thin his whole life. This is like just not a thing. I'm always baffled when I look. It's like he'll just like have a bite or two of something and put it down. I also see with my stepdaughter, I mean, you just observe how people are eating, and they just, they'll have a piece of cheesecake. They have about 2/3 of it. And then they're like, okay, I'm good. I can just tell they have no food drama. Like they'll just put the thing down and then they're like all eating on their own schedule. They're not like, you can just totally tell they're listening to their body. When I was growing up, I just remember like at any time I could be eating like 24/7. It was that leptin and insulin resistance and probably emotional eating on top of it. But it was just like, there was no off switch. The thing about it has been, I love that I have friends that understand this, that we can talk about, you know what, I want to be doing the strength training and I'm blaming on this and I'm blaming on that. And then they might suggest things to me because they really know me. And this is the power of being in these groups, because people get to know you over time and they say, hey, are you open to, have you thought about XYZ? And again, you get to decide what you take in or what you delete. I'm not always going and doing what they say, but it keeps me open and flexible and I hear other perspectives, and we crave community. I used to go dark with friends. I used to say, okay, life's overwhelming, and I just totally shut down. And what I realized is I like to stay connected. Even if things aren't working out, I say, look, I realize it's not working out. Like at this moment, nothing's going to change, but me staying connected helps. So that's one thing for me to stay connected, for me to take that walk. So what is it that's simple for you? That's easy. We always say the 1% upgrade. These things matter. They add up over time. They allow you to start to get back to feeling like where you have control. So coming back to what is simple for you, write down the top 3. Do the simplest thing on that list. Right now, what are the 3 things that you could do to get back on track? Pick one. Don't do 3. Pick one. And if you do 3, you're going to remind yourself at the end of the day, you just did 2 bonus items. But you only I don't want to use that word, right? But like you only needed to do 1, and you did 3. Wow, me. I'm incredible. You need to say at the end of the day, I'm amazing. I did even more than I thought I was going to do. This is unbelievable, and it shows me I can do big things, and I'm going to keep going. Okay, so that's number 1, what is simple for you? And then number 2, what are your bumper rails? Bumper rails, I put here, who are you going to check in with? Do you have some follow-up appointment with a doctor? Is there a group that you're part of and you're either going to go to the live calls, you're going to watch the call replays? Is it a journal where you want to check in? Is it that you are religious and you like reading a Bible passage every day and you have one of those, Bible apps that every day you're going to read a passage and there's a thought about it and teaching about it, and that really keeps you connected. I don't care what it is. But what's your bumper rail system that keeps you grounded to your values, your belief, what matter? Your bumper rail system could be every day I write down, what's my health goal today? So one of the things I'm working on in my clinic, the Rentea Metabolic Clinic, again, it's in Indiana and Illinois. It's a telehealth clinic. I feel I don't talk about it enough. Some people tell me that some patients that come to establish with me, they're like, and I didn't realize that you were in Illinois or Indiana, where they're joining me from. So again, that's where it is. So I have always had a 90-day planner within the clinic. So there's an area to plan, assess, there's a journaling section, there's a write it down and move on worksheet. We have tracking your weight weekly, so you can do like an average weekly weight. There's a bunch of different resources in this. And I'm redoing, because we've had for several years now this, and I'm realizing it's a little bit changed what I think the goals and priorities are. Always as I'm learning more, as I'm doing more, I'm realizing I think actually I want this to be phased. I want there to be a different month 1, 2, 3, because I always thought, anyone at any stage can use it. No, I think it actually needs to be different between people that are starting out versus people that are continuing. And then I think that the questions need to be different. And I think one of them that is mandatory is, what is my health goal for today? I think you could ask yourself that every day. Every single day you could ask yourself that, because you might also have business goals. You might have family goals. There's different priorities that are going to be happening that day. We talk a lot about there being a leaderboard for your life, right? Like, what's getting your attention at this moment? I am here to push you that one of those top 3 should really be taking care of your health. You don't have any of the rest of it if you don't have your health, period, end stop. So what is your health goal for today? Is it that I get more water in? Is it that I get my protein up? Is it that I decrease my stress? Is it that I hand more tasks off so that my stress goes down? You can frame it however you want. But if you were to start the practice right now of every single day saying, what is my health goal? You would end up in an entirely radically different place in life in a year or two from now, because that would become the focus, that I'm not going to let myself be ash dust at the bottom of this pile. I'm going to actually make sure that I'm one of the plants that's sprouting up. It's going to take some intention to get there. Okay, so you're asking yourself what's simple. You're putting some bumper rails in place. And then you're going to ask, number 3, did my system work or not? This is really critical. I can't stress this enough, because it doesn't matter how much stuff you're doing if you're never checking back if it works or not. And it can be a casual check-in. So let me give you an example. It can be you on Sunday just saying, how'd the week go? And by the way, I want you to cultivate a really loving dialogue with yourself. Like, hey, love, how did it go this week? Just really nice. And you kind of just sit there and you think, you know what? The beginning of the week really took me out. I'll speak about this past week, and I haven't even thought about this yet, because it isn't this poetic that we're talking on a Saturday. Normally I would do this on a Sunday. So when I think about it, honestly, this week was way too much. So I have vacation next week. And what always happens to me is that the week before and after vacation, people talk about this kind of the tax of taking a vacation. My schedule's overbooked. And I don't know a way around this at this point. I'm thinking through different ways that I can solve this, and more to come in the future. But one of the things I know is that my Monday was not only full, I also led a group session at night. And then Tuesday was over full, and Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, so the whole week. And when I think through it though, I think, okay, it was over full, but I did a great job. I wanted to congratulate myself that later in the week, one day I had an hour free. And I literally took a rest during that time. I didn't go to sleep or anything, but I just literally laid down for that hour. It wasn't about getting another walk and doing more stressful things, and doing little things like that left me here at the end of the week not being ash on the floor. That's it. And so again, I had a chance to see, okay, it was overbooked. I understand why it was overbooked. I don't know at this moment that I'm going to change anything, because that's just the way it's shaking out right now. But what I do like is how I took care of myself, how I listened to myself. I've never done better as far as what I'm eating and how I'm moving and feeling and engagement in the program. I'm doing all the things. And so I realized, interesting, it was being aware that this will be a hard week and supporting myself during it. That was it. What would I keep? What would I toss? What would I transform? What would I change? Right? Simple questions are going to get you the furthest. All right, I'm going to end this here. But if you are feeling quote unquote off track, first of all, stop telling yourself there's a good reason for that. And there's different things that happen at different times. If you feel the energy, like you can get back to some things that help support you, what is the simplest thing you can do? Only do that. And then number 2, what are some bumper rails that I can put in place? Can I ask a friend to check, hey, have you got your water today? Can I set an alarm? I'm a really big fan of setting alarms on your phone, because you don't need to download one more app. It's an easy ask. Literally, when I have a patient on the viz, I'll be like, can you right now set that? So I'm really about, with patients a lot of the time, again, depending on who's in front of me, but being like, okay, these are the steps we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. And there's a concrete list. I know that for me, I just had the follow-up with my kid's pediatrician, and oh my gosh, every few months, he's asking us to do certain things. They're so easy and I haven't done them. And every time I'm like, I'm so sorry I haven't done it. He's like, listen, you're fine. And, we set the next thing. And ultimately what worked, okay, email me after the visit, this number. I needed to update him on what the weight was doing based on medications that he's on. And I needed to update, I forget one other thing. And it was like those 2 things, I got it done 2 days later. And isn't that funny that that's pretty much all my brain could do? Now, all the other things that we're working on, I realized I had done some of it, but you can't do this to yourself anymore, where it's such a huge ask. You already know it isn't going to happen. You have no bandwidth for it. All right. I hope that you are having an amazing rest of the week. Reminder, if you want to do that 30-30 program, this is your time. Sign up now. I think we're going to do some next year. I can never guarantee it. So take this opportunity now. It will help you. It's going to give you the community, the support. It's going to help you to feel like you can do this. Okay, there are answers. There are ways. This does not need to be the hardest thing in life. And when other people are doing it, it is so empowering. You are part of something. You feel like, I can do this. So yes, you're going to learn new knowledge. Of course, I'm always learning. It's a given when you're doing things with me. And I'm having a blast, by the way. The reason why I think I told you part of why I waited so long. I just learned, oh my gosh, I'm an entirely different person this year compared to last year when we were doing other programs. And of course, some of the same principles prevail, but there's always new stuff. This is the time, if you really want to bust through some of those old habits, you want to do some new things, know that you do not need to be in a weight loss stall to be part of this. You could be rock and rolling along. You could be at maintenance, because there's an aspect of this program where we're working on the gut microbiome. And honestly, that's really about overall health. And there's an aspect of really cancer prevention with nutrition, things we're doing. And so a lot of this is beneficial to you no matter where you're at in your journey. And we really only have a few more spots because, again, I really want to keep this on the smaller side. So if this is something you're thinking about, I would go ahead and do it now. All right. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk soon. That marks the end of today's episode. But if you're newer to the podcast, I want to tell you about something that we have, and it's a free podcast roadmap. So this is perfect for any of you that are listening where you want to be directed to very specific episodes. So let's say that you are just starting out and you want to know, what should I do right when I start on the medications? Or you're experiencing certain side effects on the GLP-1s, or you want to know what to do if you're in a plateau, or if emotional eating is taking over, or if hunger levels are high. So we have many different categories of episodes that we've talked about, because there's a lot at this point. So if you want to be able to navigate that very easily, we have it broken down by category, and also the episodes that are there, and we hyperlink to everything. So you can just click on it and find the episode, easy peasy. If you want that, you can go to renteaclinic.com/podcast roadmap. We'll have it linked right here underneath the show notes where you're listening. And you can go ahead and get that free resource so that it makes it easy for you to navigate, because I know that it's really hard when someone has an established podcast. I am such a podcast fiend, listening to podcasts all day long. And when I find one that I love, but there's a lot that are out there, I am so lost. So I hope that you enjoy this free podcast roadmap. Again, the link to get to that is going to be renteaclinic.com/podcast roadmap. I hope this is helpful, and let me know if you have any questions.